Okay, so lucky for the brief wait. Shabbat shalom to all you brothers and sisters that are on here right now that may be watching this later on. So first off, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High God, whose name is Yahweh, and I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, our Messiah, Yahweh Shai, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. So today's lesson is going to be called "Bury Your Past, or It Will Bury You Spiritually." Right? And the reason I'm doing this lesson is because a lot of brothers have been reaching out to me, brothers and sisters reaching out to me lately and saying that, things of the past, people of the past, situations of the past are getting to them and they are dragging them down spiritually, and they want to know or wanted some scriptures on how to get out of that spirit. Right. So King Naquam, Shalom, Rahab Yah, Shabbat Shalom. Hope y'all are having a peaceful one, whether you're observing Sabbath today or not. Right, so we're gonna go ahead and start in First Peter chapter 4 and verse 3. First Peter chapter 4 and verse 3, it says, "For the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles when we walked in lasciviousness, lusts, excess of wine, revelings, banquetings, and abominable idolatries." Right? So the Most High says that the time past of our life, that the amount of time that we had in our past lives before we came into this truth may suffice or is sufficient for us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles. Right? That we had enough time in our past lives before we came into this truth to live like Gentiles, right? Whether it be Gentiles in the flesh or spiritual Gentiles, right? Meaning Gentiles, maybe you are an Israelite, but you were still living like a Gentile, like the other nations, living lawlessly, right? Living in lasciviousness, in lust, in drunkenness, in partying, in idolatries, right? The time past of our life was enough time for us to be living after the works of the flesh, is what it's saying. And then it says, when we walked in lasciviousness, lasciviousness being attracting sexual attention, right? Which a lot of sisters do nowadays. Of course, men can do it as well, but the majority of the time it's sisters. Lusts, which causes lust, right, upon others. Excess of wine, meaning in drunkenness, because everything's supposed to be done in moderation. And remember, this can mean spiritual wine or this can mean physical wine, right? Like it says in Revelation that all the nations were drunken off the wine of Babylon. That's the doctrines of Babylon, right? So a lot of our people, including us, if you were in Christianity, Catholicism, Islam, whatever the case may be, you were going into excess of wine spiritually, right? Because you weren't living by the law, statutes, commandments, and precepts of the word. And then also living a drunken life, whether it be alcohol, whether it be smoking weed, whether it be other drugs, pharmacia, pharmaceuticals, right? Then it says revelings. Revelings is loud partying, right? Whether it be a concert, whether it be a block party, house party, etc. Banquetings, right? Like the types of parties certain people have for their birthdays, etc. And abominable idolatries, right? So the Most High is saying that we had enough time in our life to be able to do all of these things, right? And if Mashiach had to do it, then we have to do the same thing and start living a life that is clean, right? Because in the end, we're going to have to give account for all of the things that we did, right? As a matter of fact, let me get a couple more verses in this chapter. Because, see, we're supposed to be living like true Christians, right? A real Christian, by definition, would be to be Christ like, right? So that's what we should be shooting for. And what did he do? He didn't do any of these things, right? He wasn't walking in lasciviousness, lust, revelings, banquetings, idolatry. I'm gonna start on verse 1 actually of the same chapter. First Peter 4 and 1. For as much then as Mashiach hath suffered for us in the flesh, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind. For he that hath suffered in the flesh hath ceased from sin. So it said, just like our Messiah suffered for us, think of all the things that he had to go through. Right? That's why I love reading with my family. Every once in a while, we'll just read the accounts of what happened to him, right? How he was scourged and whipped, how he had the crown put on him, how they were feeding him, or they were giving him to drink vinegar and gall, vinegar mixed with piss, right? When he was thirsty and he spit it out, all the things, all the ways that he suffered for us, right? So think about that. And then it says, arm yourselves likewise with the same mind, right? We have to understand that in one way or another, or in multiple ways, we're going to have to suffer for this truth, and we're going to have to suffer to make it to the kingdom. For he that has suffered in the flesh has ceased from sin, right? So is it easy to just put everything in the past? No, nobody's saying that, right? It's not an easy thing to cut off people that you've known your whole life. It's not an easy thing to break habits and addictions that you've had for the majority of your life. It's not an easy thing to end relationships, whether it be family, whether it be friends, whether it be um, so-called boyfriend and girlfriend, whatever the case may be. It's not an easy thing, right? But like it says here, we have to arm ourselves with the same mind that Hamashiach had, and we have to suffer in the flesh in order to cease from sin. Verse 2, that he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lusts of men, but to the will of the Most High. So you have to suffer in order to cease from sin, right? And like I've given the example many times before, when I first came into this truth, I was kind of suffering just to keep Sabbath, right? Because I was doing MMA for years and years, and Saturday was the day when we would spar and we would really get like, it was an open gym, right? So we could do whatever we wanted basically. We would spar some grappling rounds, jujitsu, wrestling, and then we would do MMA rounds, and then we would do just boxing and then just kickboxing. You know what I'm saying? So for me, and for some people that may be like, man, that's not even a hard thing to give up. For me, that and weed, that put that thorn in my flesh, so to speak. Right? That's something I had to suffer for in order to cease from sin. Right? For everybody, it's gonna be something different. But it's like it says here, it says verse 2 that he no longer should live the rest of his time in the flesh to the lust of men, but to the will of the Most High. So you're going to have to suffer in one way or another to get away from those lusts of man, right? Whatever lusts you have, whether it be towards certain things you want to do that go against the Most High, whether it be because you want to keep people in your life that aren't good for you, right? You're going to have to suffer in the flesh in order to live to the will of the Most High. Verse 3, for the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles when we walked in lasciviousness, lusts, excess of wine, revelings, banquetings, and abominable idolatries. So Most High said that's enough time in your life, right? It was sufficient. It sufficed to have done these things, right? But most people say, well, no, just one more time. It wasn't sufficient. Let me just fornicate one more time. Let me just break Sabbath one or two more times, right? Let me just get high one more time. Let me just stay around these people a couple more times, right? Let me not be set apart for one more week, one more month. No, the Most High said that it's sufficient. That was enough time, right? For the time past of our life may suffice. What's the root word of sufficient? It's suffice. May suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles. The Most High said that's enough time to be living like that, right? Verse 4, wherein they think it strange that ye run not with them to the same excess of riot, speaking evil of you, right? People think it's strange that you're not living in this excess of sin, right? So what do? They speak evil of you. Hey man, let's go out Friday night or Saturday, right? Let's go do this, let's go do that. And you're like, nah, I can't do that, man. I'm in the truth now, or I'm following the word now, right? I'm trying to I put that behind me, right? And what do? They speak evil of you. They think it's strange that you're not running with them in the same excess of right, in the same excess of sin. Hey, Shalom, I had that one more time spirit calm. I remember when you were on that live that I did, that one more time spirit's gonna get you killed, right? That's a bad spirit to have, that one more time spirit. Verse 5, who shall give account to him that is ready to judge the quick and the dead? Right? So when you look at the word quick or quickened or quickeneth, a lot of times the definition of it is revived, right? We've been revived out of the world. We've been revived in the spirit, in the soul, right? So now we have to bury our past, or else it's gonna leave us dead too, right? Because we're gonna have to give account to the Most High and to Yahushua of what? All these things that we're doing, especially after you receive the truth. Right? After you receive the truth, it's you're walking on eggshells at that point, right? So let's go to Luke 9 and 62. It says Luke 9 and 62, and Yahushua said unto him, no man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of the Most High. Right? So no man, no woman can come into this truth and start working towards the kingdom, right? Because that's what it means when it says putting your hand to the plow. You're working towards the kingdom, right? No one can start working towards the kingdom and keep looking back and is going to be fit to make it to the kingdom, right? Because think about it. How are you going to look, or how is the ground going to look if you're looking back, but you're holding a plow, right? It's like, I don't know if many of y'all are familiar with when farmers are digging up when they're plowing, right? Nowadays they have the riding machines, the tractors that have compasses connected to the actual tractor, so it goes in a straight line no matter what. But if back in the days they had the hand plows, right? And you're working and you're walking straight with it. If you're looking back and trying to make that straight line in the dirt, it's not going to come out straight, right? It's not going to come out straight. So that's why it's saying that if you're looking back, you're not going to be fit for the kingdom, because we're called to walk that straight and narrow path, right? It's like Matthew the 7th chapter says. I'm gonna get that real quick actually. No man fit for the kingdom, or no man that is putting his hands to the plow is and looking back is fit for the kingdom. Right? So this is Matthew 7:13 through 14. It says, enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. So it says, enter in at the straight gate. What is the straight gate? The straight gate is this Bible, right? The straight gate is following the law, statutes, commandments, precepts of the Most High's words, right? It's a straight and narrow path, right? And there's not very many people that find it. There's not very many people that could stay on that straight path. They're gonna wander to the right. They're gonna wander to the left, right? And it's like in Second Ezra's how it says it's like deep water on one side and fire on the other side. If you don't stay on that straight path, you're gonna get eaten alive spiritually, right? You're gonna get killed spiritually, right? Verse 14, because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it, right? So the path to destruction is broad, right? The path to your destruction, many people go on that path. Why? Because this path isn't easy. Because most people aren't willing to give up the things that they have to give up in order to receive the kingdom, right? And to be perfectly straight up with y'all, it's all about priorities, right? Because when it comes to thinking about an everlasting kingdom, right? If you ask anybody who's ever even heard of the Bible, anybody who's heard of the truth, anybody who knows they're an Israelite, etc., if you ask them, do you want to make it to the kingdom of heaven? They're going to say, Khan. They're going to say, yes, of course, right? Who wouldn't want to make it? Everybody's going to say yes. But then when it comes to doing the things that you have to do in order to make it to the kingdom, right? Most people aren't willing to do that. The just the one of the most basic ones, right? Being set apart. The majority of people aren't willing to be set apart, right? Most people are not willing to be set apart. And when it comes to that broad path to destruction and burying your past, many people cannot be set apart and bury the past people that they have to in order to make it to the kingdom. And that leads them down what? Down, not down the straight gate, but down that path that leads to destruction, that broad path, right? So let's go back to Luke 9 and 62. And Yahushua said unto him, no man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom. Because how are you gonna work straight, right? How are you gonna plow in a straight line when you're looking back, right? You can't do it. You can't do it. And that's why Paul said that the only thing that he apprehended, the only thing that he really grasped or held on to was what? Was forgetting the things that were behind him and looking forward to the things to come, right? Which brings us into Philippians, the 3rd chapter. This Philippians 3 and 13 through 15. Brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth unto those things which are before. Right? So he said, I've counted myself not to have apprehended or grasped onto anything, but this one thing he did grasp onto, right? Forgetting those things which are behind, burying your past, forgetting about the past, right? And reaching forward to the things which are in front of him. In other words, reaching forward to the present and to the future, right? Verse 14. I press toward the mark for the prize of the high calling of the Most High in Hamashiach Yahushai. Which, what is that mark? What is that prize? That's making it to the kingdom, right? That's what he is. He's saying everything else in my past, I had to learn how to put behind me, forgetting those things and reaching forth to the prize, which is what? Making it to the kingdom. Verse 15. Let us therefore, as many as be perfect, be thus minded, and if in anything ye be otherwise minded, the Most High shall reveal even this unto you. Right? So he's saying, as many of us are perfect, are thus minded. We are going to be thinking like this when you're striving for perfection in the word and in the truth. We're going to be thus minded. How is your mind going to be? Not looking back to the past, forgetting the things which are behind you, and reaching forward, striving for that prize, right, which is the kingdom, right? And then he says, if anybody is otherwise minded, if you don't have this in your mind, if you're not putting things behind you, then guess what? The Most High, it says, God shall reveal even this unto you. The Most High is going to show it to you, right? That you got to put the past behind you, right? And that's why I always say a lesson unlearned is a lesson returned. There's many brothers and sisters that I've personally told this to them many times, or they've reached out to me, and yeah, I really got to put my past behind me. I got to leave these people behind. I got to leave this habit or this addiction behind. I gotta beat this spirit and leave it behind. I gotta leave this environment or these family members or so-called friends behind. But guess what? Then they go right back to it, right? They're not keeping this in their mind. They are otherwise minded. So what does it say? It says, God shall reveal even this unto us. So the Most High is going to keep revealing that to you. If you're supposed to get it, then he's going to keep giving you them reminders and then curses and then punishments to remind you until you get it. And if not, then he might just, okay, you know what? It wasn't meant for them, right? So let's go to Luke, the 17th chapter. See, because you got to understand that we have to lose our old life in order to gain that new life, right? I'm going to read this one more time, actually. Philippians 3:13 through 15. Brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth unto those things which are before. So you have to forget the things behind you, bury your past, and reach towards what? Towards the kingdom, towards living a life of holiness and set apartness. I press towards the mark for the prize of the high calling of the Most High in Hamashiach Yahushai. Let us therefore, as many as be perfect, be thus minded. And if in anything ye be otherwise minded, the Most High shall reveal even this unto you. So he's going to show you, right, that you got to forget the past. He's going to show you that you got to leave people, got to leave situations, you got to leave sins, you got to leave worldly ways of thinking. He's going to keep revealing it to you. And you may not like the way he reveals it to you, right? He may put you on the spot. He may curse you. He may do things to get your attention because that's just the way he works sometimes. By terrible things in righteousness will thou answer us, O Yahweh. Right? Psalm 65 and 5. Sometimes he's got to make terrible things happen for you to come to righteousness. So this is Luke 17, 32 and 33. Remember Lot's wife. Whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. Right? Brighton K, Shalom, Shabbat Shalom if you're observing Sabbath today. Hope you're having a good one. So it says, remember Lot's wife. What did Lot's wife do? All she had to do was just get out the city, right? Don't look back. That's it. Just don't look back. And what did she do? She looked back, and the Most High turned her into a pillar of salt. Right now, that's a physical example, but like I always say, when you look at the scriptures, it's physical and spiritual. The same thing can happen to any one of us for looking back. Right? I've known brothers in this truth that I said, look, it's not a good idea. It's not a good look for you to be hanging out with this group of people anymore. You know, they could end up pulling you back into that old life, right? And they thought they were good, and guess what? The Most High just put their light out. Let them go back to their past, right? They didn't want to bury their past, so the Most High buried them back into their past, right? This is why you can't be unequally yoked. This is why you have to be separate, right? You have to come out from among those types of people. Because even matter of fact, let me get Sirach 11 and 29. Right? We have to understand that people from our past, people that are not in this truth, all they are is a means of transportation for Satan to get to us. Right? That's what they are. And most people don't understand this. They think, oh, it's cool, I'll just be around these types of people. Um, Shabbat Shalom, Akodi Danielle. Shabbat Shalom. Hope you're having a good one, sis. Right? So as it says here, Luke 17 and 33, whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it. If you want to save your life, if you want eternal life, you're going to have to lose your past life, right? And whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. You got to lose a lot of things, like I said before, whether it be friends, relationships, family, ways of thinking, customs, etc. You're going to have to lose those ways of life in order to preserve your eternal life. Because if not, then these old, especially people, can be used by the enemy to get you to go off. This is Sirach 11 and 29. Bring not every man into thine house, For the deceitful man hath many trains, right? The deceitful man hath many trains. There's many different ways of transportation for Satan and those evil spirits to get into your home, whether it be through people, right? You invite an old friend or some old friends over to your house, and now you got spirits in your house, right? And now you don't know why you just want to smoke weed so bad all the time because you got a spirit in your house. And now you don't know why you got a lustful spirit on you because then people brought spirits into your house, right? And now you don't know why you're feeling so lazy or you don't want to study the scriptures or whatever the case may be. Well, because the deceitful man has many trains, right? He just brought those types of people. Those types of people just brought that spirit into your house, right? So let's go to Second Corinthians 6 and 14. Matter of fact, let me get 17 as well. So this is Second Corinthians 6 and 14. It says, "Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers, for what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness, and what communion hath light with darkness?" Right? Don't be unequally yoked with unbelievers. What fellowship has light with darkness? What fellowship has righteous with unrighteous? Right? That's like if to give y'all a worldly example, that's like if a police officer or a dang FBI agent was hanging out with a mass murderer, right? How's that gonna look? That would never happen, right? So then why is it that people in the truth, just because, oh well, it's because I've known this person for so many years, right? It's because I've known this person since high school, since middle school, right? It's because this person's been a part of my family, right? But that doesn't matter because or Yahushua said, your family is who? Those that do the will of the Most High, right? He said, whosoever does shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same as my brother and sister and mother, right? And see, that's a big problem um, that I've seen a lot amongst Israel as well. They want to hold on. Well, a lot of people want to hold on to people just because of the amount of time they've known somebody, right? But meanwhile, the whole time they've known them, the whole relationship has been based on wickedness. The whole relationship has been based off of sin. The whole relationship has been based off of going against the Most High. But that's what you want to hold on to, right? So that just shows what you care about more, right? Because the Most High isn't he don't care how long you've known somebody. He don't care how many times they've been there for you, right? What he cares about is, are you gonna listen to my word or not, right? And his word says this right here, verse 17. Wherefore come out from among them and be ye separate, saith Yahweh, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. Right? So if you want the Most High to receive you as a daughter, to receive you as a son, to receive you Most High willing into the kingdom, what do you have to do? It says, "Come out from among them, and be ye separate." All right, this is why Leviticus 20 and 26 and many other um, verses in the law, in the Torah, in the first 5 books say you have to be holy. You look at the definition of holy in Hebrew, it means to be set apart, right? It means to be separate. It means to come out from among them, right? Rahab Yah, Big Khan. We all have to, and this is something that I could say I personally struggled with when I was first coming into the truth as well. Probably the first about a year, maybe, right? And then the Most High showed me, right? It's like like Paul said in Philippians the 3rd chapter that we just read. It said, "The Most High shall reveal even this unto you." He's gonna keep revealing it to you. You better hope and pray that He keeps revealing it to you, because if He keeps letting you be unequally yoked, it might just be because, hey, He's just gonna give you up to that lifestyle, right? He's gonna give you up to that reprobate mind, like it says in Romans the 1st chapter. It says, when you don't like to retain the Most High's knowledge, he can give you up to that reprobate mind. What is a reprobate? That's somebody who's damned, somebody who doesn't even have a chance of making it to the kingdom, right? So before he gives you up to that reprobate mind, what do you got to do? You got to come out from among them and be ye separate, saith Yahweh, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you. See, a lot of people that come into the truth, that are new to the truth, but even some that have been in the truth for quite some time now, right? I've seen it happen. They want to play both sides, so to speak. They want to, okay, I'm an Israelite, right? I, I'm a I'm a soldier for the Most High, or I'm a daughter of Zion, or I'm this, or I'm that. But you have to understand that when you do that, when you say these things, you're putting a big target on your back, right? And going back to 2 Corinthians 6:14, how it says, "What communion hath light with darkness?" When you say that you're for the Most High, and you say you're an Israelite and you're set apart people, and you're this and you're that, right? You're making it known, or at least through speech, you're saying that you're a part of that light, right? So if you're really sincerely going to be a part of that light, you can't have communion with darkness, right? You can't have communion with darkness, because all that's doing is you're allowing those past spirits to come back to you, right? As a matter of fact, let me get Matthew the 12th chapter, because when you get spirits off of you, right, that's a hard thing to do, right? I've recently talking to brothers about getting weed spirits off of them, lust spirits off of them, lazy spirits off of them. But when you decide to just let those spirits hang around, those past spirits, they're gonna come back, and they're gonna come back even with more spirits more wicked than them, right? So this is Matthew 12:43. When the unclean spirit is gone out of a man, he walketh through dry places, seeking rest, and findeth none. So when you get those unclean spirits off of you, right? Like Matthew 17:21 says, through prayer and fasting, then they walk through dry places, seeking rest and finding none. That spirit is gone, it's out looking for a vessel to go into, right? And it doesn't find any. Verse 44. Then he saith, I will return into my house from whence I came out. So then he's like, you know what? I can't find another good vessel, another good person for me to go into. Let me just go back to that same person. Let me go back into Jake. Let me go back into Eve, right? I'm going to return to the house where I came out of. And when he is come, he find it empty, swept, and garnished. Right? You've been sincerely striving to follow the Most High. You've been praying. Maybe you were even fasting. You even working out. Right? Eating healthier. Right? He finds it nice and clean, empty, swept. There's no other spirits in it. Garnished. It's been polished. 45. Then goeth he and taketh with himself 7 other spirits more wicked than himself, and they enter in and dwell there, right? And then he takes a bunch of other spirits. Let's say you stop hanging out with these people you used to hang out with, and now you're not smoking weed no more. You got that spirit off of you, right? That high spirit, that addiction spirit off of you. But then they come back, or you start hanging out with them again, or you just go out, you invite them into your house, right? Like it said in Sirach 11:29, shouldn't be bringing every man into your house, because the deceitful man has many trains. And now you're drinking, now you're smoking weed, now you got lust demons on you. You want to look at porn, you want to go out and find a girl to get with, or a guy, right? Now you got all types of demons on you. You got 7 other spirits. And remember that the number 7 is just a number of completion. It could be, it brings 2 more spirits. It could be, it brings 5 more. It brings 1 more. It brings 7 more, right? It's just a number of completion. But the point is, he's going to bring other spirits with him, and they enter in and dwell there, right? And then it says, And the last state of that man is worse than the first. And now you're worse off than you were at the beginning when you got that one spirit off of you, right? You got a lazy demon or lazy spirit off of you, and then you know what? You open yourself back up to the past, whether it be through people, whether it be through environments, situations, right? And now you got seven other spirits that he came with, and now you're lazy and smoking weed and just playing video games all day, and you don't want to pray, and you don't want to fast, you don't want to study, right? That's why it's very important to stay set apart, right? That's why it's very important to come out from among them and be separate so that the Most High can receive you, right? Because everybody says that they want to move on, right? That they want to do something new, they want to be a new person, right? But you can't be looking back, you can't be remembering the former things. Matter of fact, let me get Isaiah 43 real quick. If you really want to become new, you can't be holding on to the past, right? You can't be holding on to the past if you want to do something new. It's impossible. It's contradictory to what you're saying, right? So you always have to make sure that your words are aligning with your actions, right? Because a lot of times they don't, and we don't even realize it, right? This is Isaiah 43, 18 and 19. Remember ye not the former things, neither consider the things of old. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall ye not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Right? It says, Remember ye not the former things, neither consider the things of old. Behold, I will do a new thing. Right? And now this is going to happen when our Messiah comes and cleanses the earth and the kingdom comes down here. It's going to be a completely new thing. Right? But looking at it spiritually, how can you keep remembering the former things but still do a new thing? Right? How can the Most High spring forth something brand new when you're still holding on to the things of the past, to the old things, right? And that's why for those of y'all who saw, I know some of y'all brothers and sisters that watch me on here don't have Instagram, right? But that's why I posted a few different posts pertaining to the past, right? It was like stop cheating on your future with your past. Your past is over, right? Real cliche quotes, but that's kind of what gets people's attention sometimes, right? Like you can't start the next chapter of your life if you keep rereading the past chapters, right? If you have to leave the past where it is, where's the past? It's behind you, right? So you have to reach forward to the things that are in front of you, the work that you have to do to make it to the kingdom, right? Praise Ahaya and Yeshaya. Come, we went over this verse a little while ago, but I'll read it again. Luke 9 and 62, and Yahushua said unto him, no man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of the Most High. Right? I gave the example. If you're plowing a line in a field and you're looking backwards, how straight is that line going to be? It's not going to be straight at all. Right? We know we have to walk that straight path. We have to walk that straight gate, like it says in Matthew the 7th chapter. Right? and what it comes down to when it comes to burying your past, I know a few of the things that certain brothers and sisters were saying was really weighing them down. Is I would say the number one thing is people, right? The number one thing is people, and then it would be like certain spirits, whether it be lust, um, or whether it be weed, or whether it just be a couple people were saying, just things, just physical things, vain things that they know aren't really that important, right? As a matter of fact, let me get Matthew the 10th chapter. So we have to understand that we have to, in order to bury your past, a lot of people got to be buried, right? A lot of people got to be forsaken. And forsake means left without the intent of coming back to. You can't just, okay, well, I'm not going to talk to this person for this long, right? Maybe then I'll be stronger in the spirit, and then I could come back to these friends or these family members, etc. But that's not how it works, right? Unless the Most High puts a spirit on them to change, you have to be you can't be unequally yoked, right? You have to put the Most High before everybody, before everything. And most people, like I said previously, are not willing to do that, just plain and simple, right? Most people aren't willing to get rid of wicked people from their life. So this is Matthew 10:37 through 38. And he that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he that loveth son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me. So it doesn't matter if it's your physical or your blood father or mother. It doesn't matter if it's your blood son or daughter. It doesn't matter if it's your best friend since elementary. It doesn't matter if it's your cousin. It doesn't matter even if it's your wife, right? I know brothers that have hey they had to separate from their wife, and guess what? They went out in the world and they started committing adultery. Guess what? That's grounds for the divorce, and they left them behind, right? I know of sisters that were married in the world, and coming into this truth, they were married already, and they're like, you know what? I'm bound to him for life, but you know what? I can't live with this man. He's either abusive or he's wicked. He's doing this, that, and the other, and they're by themselves now, living celibate. Some of them been baptized, become new, and are either married or getting married, or looking to get married in the truth, right? I know people that have left so-called best friends that they've known for years and years and years, myself included. That's what you have to do in order to show the Most High that you're worthy of the sacrifice that He made through His Son, and to show that you're worthy to make it to the kingdom, right? And it says, "And he that taketh not his cross and followeth after me is not worthy of me." In order to follow our Messiah, who is the Word, right? John, the first chapter, says that the Word became flesh. In order to follow the Word, you are going to have to take up your cross and follow after the Word. Follow after Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Because if not, you're not worthy of it, right? And all of us have different crosses to carry. All of us have different crosses to carry, but in the end, it's all the same because it all comes down to following the Word, right? Are you gonna follow the Word or not? I say this all the time. That's what the whole Bible comes down to. Are you gonna follow what the book says to do, or you're not gonna follow it? That's what it all comes down to. It's plain and simple, right? A brother had posted yesterday. I forgot what movie. He said it's from a boxing movie, and it was this dude getting interviewed, and it's like a based on a true story from some boxer, and the dude was getting interviewed in the movie, right? And in the interview, the interviewer said, "What was the biggest lie that you they told you, right?" And he was like, "Oh, it's not that simple." She was like, "Well, what do you mean?" And he was like, "No, that's the biggest lie." They said it's not that simple. It is that simple, right? The whole Bible, yes, there's dark sayings and there's parables and there's these difficult prophecies to break down and things of that nature. But when you really think about it, it is that simple, right? It is that simple. It's, are you gonna follow the word or are you not gonna follow the word? Are you gonna bury your past or are you not gonna bury your past? Are you gonna be set apart or are you not gonna be set apart? Are you gonna keep the Sabbath or you're not gonna keep the Sabbath? Right? It really is that simple when you think about it. But in our worldly minds, we like to make everything more difficult, right? It's real simple when the Most High says, if you don't take your cross and follow the word, then you're not worthy, right? It's real simple to understand what carrying your cross is. You think it was easy to carry a cross? Of course not. It's a burden that you got to carry, right? But it's like Yahushua said that his burden is light compared to the burden of the world. You can either keep going about your life and you can keep being cursed and you can keep being miserable and you don't bear your past. So now all these spirits are attacking you. And now mentally and spiritually you're feeling drained, you're feeling beat down, and even maybe your finances get drained and get beat down, right? You can either carry that burden, you can carry that cross, or you can carry the cross of, oh man, well, I gotta be set apart. Oh man, well, I can't go to that party. Oh man, well, no, I can't eat that food. It's not lawful. Oh, you know what? It's Sabbath. I can't do that. You know what? These people are not good for me. I can't hang out with those people. Right? That's carrying your cross. This is Matthew 19 and 29. And everyone that hath forsaken houses or brethren or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands for my name's sake shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life. Right? And this is our Hamashiach, our Messiah speaking, right? He said, everyone that forsaken, remember, like I said earlier, forsake means to leave without the intent of coming back. When you forsake houses, when you forsake brothers, sisters, father, mother, your wife, your children, even lands, for the name of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, you're gonna receive 100-fold. You're gonna receive all that and then some. Right? It's like Job when he lost everything, and then what? You got even more in the end, right? And shall inherit everlasting life. So you got to make that decision. Is bearing your past and the people of your past, is it worth everlasting life to you? Right? And don't just say it, you got to act on it. Is burying your past worth inheriting everlasting life? Because that's what our Messiah is saying right here, right? And he never lied. The sister Natasha put Matthew 5 and 10. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Khan. And we went over that at the very beginning too, in First Peter the fourth chapter, right? It says they speak evil of you because they think it's strange that ye run not with them in the same excess of riot, in the same excess of sin, right? Matter of fact, let me go back up to that. So Matthew 5 and 10, one more time. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake. It's a blessing for people to persecute you for following the word, right? But a lot of people in this truth, they're, oh man, no, I don't want this. I don't want to do this or that because this person's gonna say something. My mom or my dad or these people, they're gonna say something, man. They're gonna persecute me for being righteous. I can't do it. Or I'm gonna hide it. That's the opposite of how you would be if you were really in the spirit, right? You're blessed for being persecuted. So then if you're blessed for being persecuted, then it should be bring on the persecution then, right? Because we're the servant is not better than the master. And if our Messiah had to be persecuted, then we have to be persecuted as well. But we're gonna get blessings from that, right? And theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So you should never be in the spirit where, okay, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna stop hanging out with these people because they're gonna talk bad about me. Or I'm not gonna start wearing fringes, or I'm not gonna tell them this about the Most High because they're gonna persecute me, right? That's the opposite of the way you should be. You should be doing whatever the Most High says to do, no matter what. Okay, here it is. It's First Peter 4. I'm gonna jump to verse 4. It says, "Wherein they think it strange that ye run not with them to the same excess of riot, speaking evil of you, right? When you're not running and doing running to do all these things that are riotous, that are full of sin, people are gonna speak evil of you, right? They are going to speak evil of you. But that doesn't matter. Because what did the Most High say in verse 3? For the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles. The Most High said that was sufficient. That was a sufficient amount of time for you to live like a Gentile. That was a sufficient amount of time before you came into the truth to be a pothead. That was a sufficient amount of time for you to be a thief, for you to be a whore, for you to be a whoremonger, for you to not be set apart. That was a sufficient amount of time in your past life before you came into the truth to be wicked, right? But like I said before, a lot of people are like, no, that wasn't a sufficient amount of time. No, I just need a little more time. Let me just smoke weed a couple more time. You know what? Next weekend I'm gonna get right. You know what? This next week I'm gonna start studying. Next week I'm gonna start praying. Next week I'm gonna start applying what I know. Right? You know what? When I feel better, when I feel ready, then I'm gonna follow you. Right? When I don't feel so bad, I'm down right now. Then I'll be set apart because I need wicked people around me. That's what's gonna make me better. Right? The time past of my life wasn't sufficient enough. Most high. That's how people live, right? You don't have to say it. Your actions say it. Your actions always speak louder than words, right? So when it comes to being persecuted, like the sister posted here, right? Uh, Matthew 5:10, you are blessed for being persecuted for the right thing. And I can tell you from personal experience, shoot, the first people to persecute you are your parents, right? Your parents or your family, and that's perfectly fine. Like it says right here, he that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. You have to love the Most High more than your parents, anyways, right? You have to love them anyways. So you have to love the Most High anyways, right? More. This is King Nika. Shalom, Mak. Hope all is well with you and your household. Shabbat Shalom. Jeremiah 3:14. Turn, O backsliding children, saith Yahweh, for I am married unto you, and I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion. Right? When you read in Second Esdras, it says a little bit more than that. But the point is, it's not going to be one of every single city, right? Or two of every single family, but it's letting you know, hey, it's only going to be a very small amount of people. It's going to be a very small amount of people. Khan, all praise to the Most High. I'm glad all is well with you out. But like it says, I will take you one of a city and two of a family. That is not many people. You're looking around at your family like, damn, two of a family, right? Who's it gonna be? The water. This is Psalm 27:10. When my father and my mother forsake me, then Yahweh will take me up. Right? A lot of times your parents are gonna forsake you for following this truth, right? Shoot, I know my own mom said, what are y'all Muslim? We've been called everything you could think of, right? All the most popular ones. Muslim, in a cult, Seventh Day Adventist, Mormons, whatever the case may be, right? But that doesn't matter. If your father or your mother forsakes you, then guess what? That means that you're a child of the Most High now, right? If they forsake you for righteousness' sake, like it said in Matthew 5:10, right? Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake. Isn't it a blessing for the Most High to take you up instead of your worldly parents who aren't living out the truth? Of course, that's a huge blessing, right? Now you get all of the blessings that come along with the Most High taking you up. You're gonna get correction, right? And that's something I've been telling people as well. Like a good thing to pray for to the Most High is that He corrects you in love and in compassion and in mercy, right? And not in wrath and not in anger, right? Because we all need to be corrected from time to time, right? Our minds can lead us astray easily if you're not in the truth, if you're around the wrong types of spirits, etc. Right? So a good thing to be praying for, especially when it comes to bearing your past, right, is to be corrected in His mercy, right? Look, I know maybe I went off here, maybe I acted wrong here, maybe I made the wrong decision. If you could please correct me in your mercy, in your love, and not in your anger and in your curses. So let's go to First Peter, the first chapter. This First Peter 1:22 and 23. It says, "Seeing ye have purified your souls in obeying the truth through the Spirit unto unfeigned love of the brethren, see that you love one another with a pure heart fervently." Verse 23, "Being born again, not of corruptible seed, but of incorruptible, by the word of the Most High, which liveth and abideth forever." Right? And as a matter of fact, let me get Matthew 12 and 50. I know I alluded to it or mentioned it earlier. That's a good precept for this as well. Real quick. Okay, so it says, verse 22, "Seeing ye have purified your souls." How do you purify your soul? It says, "In obeying the truth." That's how you purify your soul, right? Because like I've spoken many times on water baptism before, for remission of sins, like it says in Acts 2:38 and many other verses. But baptism, water baptism doesn't mean anything if you don't continue to purify your soul and obey the truth, right? It's like if I baptize somebody who's gay and he gets baptized, okay, I got remission of sins, I'm a new person, and he goes out and gets with a dude afterwards. Well, that baptism, what was that baptism for? He's not pure. He didn't purify his soul, right? He got dunked in some water, and that was it. So it says, "Seeing ye have purified your souls in obeying the truth through the Spirit unto unfeigned love of the brethren." Right? So you have to understand that when you come into this truth, okay, if you have one or two or a handful of brothers or sisters that are also obeying this truth sincerely, your love towards them should be greater than your love towards anybody else in the world, than anybody else who is being wicked, right? Your love towards them, it should be unfeigned, like it says right here. That love doesn't faint, that love doesn't decrease, right? Because that's who your brothers and sisters are. Even if it's like, for example, my wife, right? She's still my sister in Hamashiach, right? My brother, my physical brother, sister, mother in the flesh of blood aren't my brother, sister, mother in the spirit, right? So when it says, "Seeing ye have purified your souls in obeying the truth through the Spirit unto unfeigned love of the brethren," right? That is something only through the Spirit. If you're really in the Spirit, are you gonna be able to do that? Because a lot of people that claim to be in the truth show more love to wicked people than they do to people that are actually their brother and sister and father and mother in this truth, right? Which, like it says here, Matthew 12 and 50, for whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same is my brother and sister and mother, right? So our Messiah said himself that the people that are following the Most High's will, right? Which it tells you in First Thessalonians, the fourth chapter. I'll get that in just a second. What the will of the Most High is. Those following the will of the Most High, you are supposed to prefer those people and show love to those people more than worldly people, right? And that goes back to what I was saying earlier about burying your past. When it comes to burying your past, it's it's a hard thing to do, but it's something that you can do through the Spirit, right? When you replace wicked people with righteous people around you. Okay? I'm going to read it one more time. Seeing ye have purified your souls in obeying the truth through the Spirit unto unfeigned love of the brethren. See that ye love one another with a pure heart fervently. We have to love the people that are in the truth, right? This is First John 5 and 2. By this we know that we love the children of the Most High, when we love the Most High and keep his commandments. Okay, so we love our brethren in the truth by keeping the commandments towards them that we're supposed to. We're correcting them, right? We're praying for them. We're not stealing from them, not coveting from them, right? All the commandments pertaining to our brothers and sisters. This is how we show love to them, right? By loving the Most High, keeping the commandments towards them, right? Oh, Tawada. Sister Natasha put First John 4 and 20. If a man say, I love the Most High and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother, whom he hath seen, how can he love the Most High who he hath not seen? So how you gonna? Nobody's ever seen the Most High. So how are you gonna say you love the Most High, but then you don't show no love to your brothers and sisters in the truth, right? You don't show no love to your brothers and sisters that are in the truth, but you say that you love them, right? That's what it's saying. This is Romans 12 and 10. Be kindly affectioned one to another with brotherly love, in honor, preferring one another, right? We're supposed to have brotherly love, sisterly love towards our brethren and our sisters in this truth. We're supposed to honor, respect, right? And prefer one another. And this is something that, man, it really, there's no other word I can't think of for lack of a better term. It's really disgusts me to see that certain brothers and sisters prefer to not be around other like-minded or righteous brethren, right? Those striving to make it to the kingdom. Because when you really think about it, Shabbat shalom, Mark, Drea. It's all good. You can rewatch it later if you want to, or all praise the Most High you're on now, right? Shalom. Hope all is well with you. But as I was saying, you have to have that spirit of brotherly love, right? If you don't love your brother, how could you love the Most High, right? First of all, then you have to have honor, which is respect, right? And love, brotherly love, and preferring those in the truth. And you can't do that if you don't bury your past, right? Because I've seen many people hold on to old people of the past, wicked people, right? Over people that could help them out in this truth, right? And that's why many people end up falling astray or going astray because they're holding on to people of the past that cannot help them, right? They're holding on to dead weight. Let's just put it that way, right? And that's why let's go to let me get Sirach the 6th chapter real quick. That's why we have to understand who our friends are, real friends, right? And who our enemies are. If you're striving to live in the truth, then you have to know who your friends and who your enemies are, right? So this is Sirach the 6th chapter, verse 13, it says, separate thyself from thine enemies and take heed of thy friends. Right? We have to learn to separate ourselves from our enemies. It's plain and clear. When you're in the truth, it's pretty simple to understand who your enemies are, right? You don't really even have to have that much discernment in order to understand who your enemies are. If you're striving to live godly, then guess what? Guess who your enemies are? It's those that are just living in sin, sinners, right? Those who aren't striving to follow the Most High or live godly in any way. Those people are your enemies, whether you want to believe it or not, whether you like it, believe it, accept it or not. This is Sirach 33 and 14. Good is set against evil, and life against death. So is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly. So just like good is set against evil, just like life against death, blessings against curses, the commandments against unlawlessness or lawlessness, Salakia, so is the godly set against the sinner, right? Godly people and sinners are set against each other according to the Most High. And who set them against each other? The Most High did, right? That's a test for you right there. So back to Sirach 6 and 13. Separate thyself from thine enemies and take heed of thy friends. It's easy to understand who your enemies are, but sometimes it's a little more difficult to understand who your real friends are. Because it says take heed of your friends. Right? You got to be weary of your friends. Don't just be hasty to credit someone as your friend, as it says, right? Verse 14, a faithful friend is a strong defense, and he that hath found such a one hath found a treasure, right? If you went out and you were at the beach or something, or you're digging in your yard and you find a treasure, man, you're going to cherish that. You're going to be happy about it, right? So, how come when the Most High says a faithful friend, someone who's going to help you out in this truth, someone who's going to hold you accountable according to the word, how come when he says that's a treasure, people don't treat it like a treasure, right? How come when he says a faithful friend is a strong defense, they're going to defend against sin, then how come you would rather hold on to past people that aren't going to defend or help you defend against sin? On the contrary, they're going to lead you into sin, or they're going to sin with you, right? Verse 15, nothing doth countervail a faithful friend, and his excellence is invaluable, right? If you have a husband or a wife in this truth, and they are sincerely striving to follow the Most High with you, right? There's nothing can counter that, right? That is excellent and that is invaluable, right? Y'all remember those old commercials that they'd be like, plane ticket to Mexico, $200, and then they'd be like, having a best friend, priceless. That's how the Most High sees you having someone in this truth with you, right? It's invaluable, it's priceless. Verse 16, a faithful friend is the medicine of life, and they that fear Yahweh shall find him. Having someone that is full of faith in your life is going to be like medicine when you have trials and tribulations, when you don't know what to do, and they're going to help you out. They're going to pray for you. They're going to give you some scriptures. They're going to study with you, right? That is the medicine of life. And they that fear the Most High will find him. Right? Verse 17, whoso feareth Yahweh shall direct his friendships aright. For as he is, so shall his neighbor be also. So that's what I wanted to get to. For as he is, so shall his neighbor be also. So you got to ask yourself, right? It's like I've done a few videos in the past before where I say, show me your friends and I'll show you who you are, right? Because this is all throughout the scriptures. As he is, so shall his neighbor be also. You got to take a look at the people you're surrounding yourself with. because that's who you are going to be like, right? That's who you're gonna be. King Nika. That's right. That's right. People know, and you know, I wouldn't say I've been in the truth for that long. You know, about maybe 6 years. I'm only 31 years old, right? But us older brothers, and some of the younger brothers have gotten it too. But it seems like us older brothers that have experienced this know this to be true, right? As you are, your neighbor is going to be also. You are going to gravitate to the people that you are like. So the people you surround yourself with, it is going to even if you look at scientific so-called scientific studies, right? I briefly studied psychology before coming into the truth, right? And there's studies that'll show you the more you hang around people, guess what? You're going to start taking on their traits. You're going to start taking on their attributes. And this is all throughout the word as well that it says this, right? In Sirach, the 13th chapter, it says the same thing. It says a man will cleave to his like, for as he is, so shall his neighbor be also, right? It says this in the word. It says this in the world with their so-called scientific and psychological psychology data. They'll tell you this, right? So that's why it's so important. Going back to First Peter, all the way back to First Peter, it says, "Seeing ye have purified your souls in obeying the truth," right? You purify your soul by obeying truth. And like we read in Second Corinthians, the 6th chapter, which obviously is a part of the truth, what did it say? It said, "Be not unequally yoked with unbelievers," right? It said, "Come out from among them and be separate." That's the truth, right? So, right here in First Peter 1 and 22, it says, "Seeing ye have purified your souls in obeying the truth." This is a big part of obeying the truth and purifying yourself by being separate from people and from environments and habits and ways of thinking that are in your past life, right? It says, "Through the Spirit unto unfeigned love of the brethren. See that ye love one another with a pure heart fervently." We have to love and prefer the people that the Most High has put in our life that are actually our brothers in this truth, our sisters in this truth, right? Verse 23, being born again, being born again. How do you be born again? You got to bury your past before you can be truly born again in the mind and in the spirit, right? Not of corruptible seed, but of incorruptible, right? See, because all of us, I know a couple of brothers and sisters, just very few that I could think of, probably less than a handful that were actually born into this truth. Their parents knew of the truth. They taught them they were Israelites. I even know of a brother and sister. They were learning Hebrew um, when they were just toddlers, right? But for the majority of us, we were born of that corruptible seed. We weren't born in this truth. We were born into Christianity, Catholicism, Islam, whatever the case may be. Or maybe you were just atheist, whatever, right? So we have to be born again of that incorruptible seed. And how do we get that incorruptible seed planted in us? By the word of the Most High. Like it says here, right? Which liveth and abideth forever. So the only way to be born again is by following this word, by following the truth, by putting the past behind you, right? By burying your past. Hey, Shabbat Shalom, Ak, the brother Ash. I hope all is well with you, Ak. Hope you're having a good Sabbath, right? So let me go. Well, what was I on? Matthew. Okay, Con. I was on Matthew 12 and 50. Let me go back up. Matthew 12:50, for whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same is my brother and sister and mother, right? So it says, whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven. What is the will of our Father that's in heaven? All right, let's go to First Thessalonians, first chapter, first or the fourth chapter. Salakia. It says, for this is the will of the Most High. This is the will of the Most High, even your sanctification, that ye should abstain from fornication. Right? The will of the Most High and the way we can be sanctified, made holy, made white, made pure, we have to abstain from fornication. Okay? Now everybody, when you talk about fornication, you automatically start thinking towards the physical, right? But we have to think of spiritual fornication, cheating on the Most High. It's very easy to fall into spiritual fornication, right? It's very easy in this day and age to fall into spiritual fornication, physical as well, but spiritual fornication, going off and dabbling in all the different types of doctrines that are out there right now, right? Matter of fact, give me 1 second, y'all. 1 second. Okay, Salakia. So it says, for this is the will of the Most High, even your sanctification, that ye should abstain from fornication, cheating on the Most High, right? Which that can be go into anything. That can go into following other gods, other doctrines. That could be cheating on him, breaking his Sabbath, right? That could be cheating on him by not being set apart. Verse 4, that every one of you should know how to possess his vessel in sanctification and honor. Right? We all have to know how to possess our vessel, right? Because our temple is where the Holy Spirit dwells, right? Possess his vessel in sanctification and honor and respect. You have to respect your vessel, right? It's crazy to me that there's so many people that they respected or respect a church building more than they respect their own vessel, right? Verse 6, not in the lust of concupiscence, even as the Gentiles which know not the Most High, right? Not in the lust of concupiscence, like those Gentiles, right, that don't even know the Most High, right? And concupiscence is basically a strong desire that you can't control, right? But the majority of the time, it's a sexual desire. It's like a lust. But we know that you can lust for more things than just sex, right? You can lust after anything. So it says that no man go beyond and defraud his brother in any matter. So think about it this way: when it comes to the past, right? Another big one. I had asked the question on Instagram, and I haven't got to the chance to post them up because I just saw them briefly before I got on here and started doing the live. I had asked, what is basically like what is tripping you up about the past, or what is getting you to kind of go off from the Most High when it comes to your past, right? And a big one for a lot of people is holding a grudge, right? A big one. Okay, it said, what from your past is tripping you up? That's what I had asked, right? A big one is holding a grudge, Okay. And we have to understand that when you're holding a grudge against somebody, you can't make it into the kingdom, right? It's like in the Adawan Palau, the Lord's Prayer, or the Our Father as they call it. You have to forgive in order to be forgiven, right? So we have to understand that when it comes to defrauding your brother or your sister in any matter, that's one way that a lot of people defraud their brother or sister, and they don't even realize it, right? Whether it be through tail bearing, right? Or whether it be through holding a grudge. When brothers or sisters, and this is happened around me as well, to where certain brothers or sisters will want to talk about another brother or sister, but guess what? Every word is supposed to be established with at least two or three witnesses, right? So if somebody, let's just put it this way, if somebody is talking to you about a brother or sister that's in the truth, right, then you automatically are supposed to go to that brother or sister as to not defraud them, as to not tailbear, and to partake in tailbearing, right? And as a matter of fact, let me get it real quick. Leviticus 19th chapter, 17 or 18. I believe it's 18. Let me see. Okay, come. Leviticus 19 and 18, right? And this goes along with your past, because when it comes to burying the past, you have to understand that you can't be doing the same things or acting the same ways that you were outside of the truth in the truth, right? So I didn't pull it up, but Leviticus 19 and 17, or Salaki, you know what? I'll pull it up in a second. This is Leviticus 19 and 18. It says, "Thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people." That's Israel, right? "But thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself." So holding on to a grudge is not burying your past, right? Holding on to any type of grudge and talking about people behind their back and things of that nature, that is not burying your past. That's holding on to the past, right? And that is not loving your neighbor as yourself either, which was also what Yahushua said we have to do, right? So this is Ezekiel 18:21 through 22. It says, "But if the wicked will turn from all his sins that he hath committed, and keep all my statutes, and do that which is lawful and right, he shall surely live, he shall not die." So we all know people that, or the majority of us, I'm sure, know people that maybe they were in this truth and they did you wrong, right? Whether it be while in the truth or before in the truth, right? Either way, but you have to know that if the Most High forgives them, if they start doing what is lawful and right, then guess what? They're gonna live. They're not gonna die. It's good on them, right? But now you have a part to uphold in that. This is 22. "All his transgressions that he hath committed, they shall not be mentioned unto him. In his righteousness that he hath done, he shall live." So it says, all his transgressions that he hath committed, they shall not be mentioned unto him, right? And I've seen this happen many times in the past where it's like, well, not to bring up the past, but start bringing up the past, right? The Most High said that all the transgressions committed before, they're not supposed to be mentioned. Because what happens a lot of times is, let's say you have a brother or a sister in the truth, and they're burying their past, right? They're striving to live and do which is lawful, like it says here in verse 21. It says, "And do that which is lawful and right, he shall surely live." right? But then you come along and you start mentioning all these past transgressions to them, and then they start remembering them, even though they're trying to walk in newness of life, even though they're trying to bury their past, and then that starts affecting them as well. Now they're thinking about that, right? Now they're thinking about their past transgression. Well, am I even forgiven? Well, what if I do it again? Well, I mean, I already did. Maybe I can't even be forgiven for that, and that starts dragging them down as well, right? Uh, Salaki, I didn't see these comments till right now. I have a question, Mr. Kana. I'm gonna just call you that. Kana is fine. If I read other books like the Quran to show myself approved unto the Most High, like in Second Timothy 2:15, is that okay? All right, I'm gonna come back to that. I only have a few more verses. I'm gonna go over with this topic, and I'll come back to that. Uh, what are ways what are ways to improve from tail bearing? That's a good question. Me personally, this is what I tell certain people, okay? Or I've told people and in the past and in the recent past as well. When it comes to me and tail bearing, if anybody let's just put it this way. This is how everybody's attitude should be towards it, right? If somebody's talking about me personally, right? And just using me as an example, put yourself in that example. If somebody's talking about me personally, oh, well, Kana or Joaquin said this or did that, or he told me blah, 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 or in the past, he this, that, and the other, then I would hope that whoever it is telling you this or talking to you about me, you're automatically going to come straight to me, right? That's going to take out the tail bearing part of it. Because when you're telling a tale, it's has to be from both sides of the story, or from both parties involved, or however many parties are involved, right? So that's definitely one way, going straight to the source. And now it's not tail bearing. Now it's you're actually getting the facts. Now it's you're actually getting both witnesses or multiple witnesses, right? But then also when it comes to tail bearing, I know like with my ribs families happened in the past. There are a lot of let's just say in Spanish they call them chismosas. Like they like to gossip a lot. They're gossipers, right? So me personally, if it's like people that aren't even in the truth and things of that nature, I'll just remove myself from the conversation altogether. But if it's people in the truth, I'm either gonna be like, okay, well, let's bring this other person into the conversation right now. And a lot of times people aren't gonna want to do it, right? They don't want you to have both sides of the story. So right then you should already know something's off. Or you're gonna be, or you're just gonna be like, you know what, that this doesn't concern me, and I'm just going to mind my own business, right? Let me actually get a verse for that real quick. First Thessalonians. Actually, I think I just skipped over it a little while ago. First Thessalonians 4:11. Right? If you really want to ways to improve from tail bearing, this is the perfect way right here. Right? And I'll be honest, I was falling into that not I mean maybe a year, a couple years ago, when I was more involved with a lot of different brothers from different camps and things of that nature. Um, because as some of y'all know, I mean, I've talked about it before. We, for me and a few brothers that would go out and teach and stuff, we got multiple offers from different camps. Hey, you want to be an affiliation? We'll send you shirts, posters, etc. Blah blah blah. And to me, it was like the tail bearing in those types, in some of them, right? Those types of environments or organizations was just ridiculous. It was just crazy, man. It was like high school in the truth, right? So this is First Thessalonians 4:11, and that you study to be quiet and to do your own business and to work with your own hands as we commanded you, right? So the best way, like the brother asked, what are ways to improve from tailbearing, right? You should just study to be quiet and to do your own business. See, a lot of times, it's like we're grabbing a dog by the ear, right? Like it says in Proverbs. We are meddling in matters that don't really concern us, and because we're doing that, it causes problems. And because we're doing that, it causes issues and strifes, and now then it goes into he said this, she said that, and now you're holding a grudge against somebody, and now you're talking to more people about it and tailbearing even more, right? So the best way to do it is just to mind our own business. If it doesn't concern us directly, right? If it doesn't concern you directly, then you don't get into it, right? This is Proverbs 26 and 17. He that passeth by and meddleth with strife, belonging not to him, is like one that taketh a dog by the ears, right? So a lot of times, somebody may just come and start tailbearing to you, and sometimes it's as easy as this. You know what? That doesn't really concern me. That 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 I don't want to meddle in that. That strife doesn't belong to me. That's between you and that brother. That's between you and that sister. I suggest y'all hash it out together. Reach out to them instead of tailbearing about it, right? Because if not, it's like you're taking a dog by the ears. You see a dog and you go grab him by the ears. Guess what? He's gonna come after you, right? I'm someone who wears my heart on my sleeve, so sometimes I have a habit of wanting to express myself to someone when I should keep things to myself. Khan, that's happened to me in the past as well. That's just something. Again, when it comes to bearing your past, certain habits we have to learn how to bury those habits as well, right? And knowing when to speak and knowing when not to speak, sometimes that is one of the hardest things to discern, right? I can say that from experience. Knowing when to speak and when not to speak, sometimes that is one of the hardest things to discern. Right, but that's something definitely to pray about and to work on, right? Because life and death are in the power of the tongue, right? And we know tailbearing and holding grudges and speaking things that we shouldn't can affect us negatively in the long run. And like Yahushua said, we're gonna be judged for every idle word, right? That should definitely be something scary to think about, right? Something to put the fear of the Most High in us all, right? So let me go back up. Let me finish Thessalonians, and I'm probably gonna get like 3 or 4 more verses, and then I know there was one question. If anyone else has another question, I'll get to it. Uh, the water for the wisdom, Khan. All praise to the Most High. All praise to the Most High. Proverbs 21 and 23. Whoso keepeth his mouth and his tongue keepeth his soul from troubles. Khan. That's one of my ribs' favorite verses. When you learn to keep your tongue and your mouth, and think about it this way, it's not so much like just keep your mouth closed all the time. It's going along with what the brother said, like knowing when to speak, knowing when not to speak, right? That's a hard thing to discern sometimes, but through the spirit, through prayer, through obedience to the word, the Most High can definitely give that to us, so that our mouth doesn't lead to our destruction, right? Let me post that up real quick. All right, it's like anybody who's ever heard of any rap music or anything like that, you know what a 187 is, right? So this is Proverbs 18:7. This is how I remembered this, right? Proverbs 187 is how I'd always remember it in my head. It says, "A fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snare of his soul." Right? A fool's mouth and a fool's lips can 187 their soul, just murder their soul. Right? So we have to be very very prudent in the things that we're going to say, because a fool's mouth, that means you're speaking foolishly, you're speaking without wisdom, right? And that's why if we're going to speak, we have to speak as an oracle of the Most High. If we're going to speak, we have to let the Most High be true and every man a liar, as it is written, right? Like it says in First Peter, and it says in Romans the 3rd chapter. So let me go back up to what was on Thessalonians. So it says, I was on what, 7, I believe. For the Most High hath not called us unto uncleanness, but unto holiness. Right? So this is what it all comes down to when it comes to bearing your past, right? Our past life, we've all lived filthy. We all lived against the Most High's word. All of us, every single one of us, right? Before the truth, we were living unclean. But now, like it says here in First Thessalonians 4 and 7, it says, the Most High hath not called us unto uncleanness. He didn't call us to go back to our past lives. He didn't call us to go back to past wicked habits, past wicked strongholds and chains, past wicked spirits, past wicked people, past wicked, unclean environments, right? He didn't call us to that. He called us unto holiness. And again, what does holy mean in the Hebrew? Set apart, sanctified, right? Verse 8, he therefore that despiseth not man, but the Most High, who hath also given unto us his Holy Spirit, right? So if you despise the words that are spoken, right? If you despise being holy, if you despise being set apart, it's not man that you despise. It's not the people that are telling you, hey, you have to be set apart. Hey, you have to bury your past. Hey, you have to stop being wicked. That's not who you really despise. It's the Most High who you despise, right? Who hath also given unto us his Holy Spirit, right? And this happens many times. I can speak from experience on this for sure, that when you're speaking the word to somebody, right? I've had brothers and sisters just recently. I've had a brother and a sister that I'll tell them the word and stuff, and then it's like, okay, well, you don't have to tell me that anymore. And it's like, damn, all I'm doing is giving you the word, and you, if you claim to be in the truth, right, you should never be turning down or getting mad or getting grievous towards somebody giving you the word. That's a surefire way of showing that you are not in the spirit of the Most High, right? And it's showing that you despise the Most High because it's His word that they're giving you, right? So I'm gonna read it one more time. It says, "He therefore that despiseth not man, but the Most High, who hath also given unto us His Holy Spirit." Because you have to understand, Satan's not gonna put an evil spirit on me to tell you, to show you some Bible verses and be like, look, this is where you're going off. This is what the word says. You need to get right when it comes to these words right here with the Most High, right? That's from the Holy Spirit that's coming from, right? The evil spirits aren't going to try to get you to do what the word says to do. That's counterproductive to what they're trying to get you to do. They're trying to get you to go off. They're trying to get you to live that past life. They're trying to call you to uncleanness, right? But in verse 7, like it says right here, the Most High calls you to holiness. So if somebody is calling you, the Most High is using somebody to call you to holiness and giving you the word and the precepts to back it up. Look, this precept says this precept says that, this precept says this. So you know what you got to do, right? And if you're getting upset, if you're despising that, then it's the Most High and the Most High's word that you're actually despising. And when you look into that word despise, it can also mean, how does it say? I believe it says like to take as a light thing, right? Like you don't think it's that big of a deal, In that case, that means that you are despising the Most High, not the person who is giving you the words from the Most High, right? Because this truth isn't ours. These words aren't ours, right? All we're doing is being used as vessels to spread this truth. All right, so this is Second Ezra's 6:34. And hasten not with the times that are past, to think vain things, that thou mayest not hasten from the latter times. So it says, hasten not with the times that are past, to think vain things. See, a lot of people want to hold on and just be thinking about the times that are past, right? That's why I've said many times, thinking about the past is just a trap. There's no productive thing that can come from you thinking about your wicked past, from thinking about wicked past events, from thinking about wicked past relationships, from thinking about wicked past friends, etc. There's nothing that is going to come productive out of it. If you learned your lesson from it, just hold on to that lesson and not hold on to that past, right? Because if not, all you're gonna keep doing is thinking what? Thinking vain things, like it says here. Because you just want to hold on to that past so tight, right? And you think vain things and vain things and vain things instead of thinking of what you need to do right now to get right with the Most High. That thou mayest not hasten from the latter times. We're living in the latter times right now, right? So you need to think of the things you got to do in these latter times in order to get right with the Most High, right? You have plenty of things that you need to be putting into action, not only thinking, right, but studying, thinking about, and then putting into action in these latter times. So that's why I'm saying stop holding on to the past and just thinking vain things, right? Thinking of the past is definitely a trap. Because like Paul said, Salaki, like Paul said in Philippians the third chapter, which we read earlier, right? He said he didn't apprehend one thing. The only thing he held on to was to leave or forget the things behind him and to reach forward to the things that are before him. And he was gonna keep marching on towards what? Towards the prize of the high calling of the Most High, right? And he said everybody needs to be like-minded. Everybody needs to be like that, right? Khan. I read this verse earlier, but I'll read it again. It's Isaiah 43:18. Remember ye not the former things, neither consider the things of old. Right? We gotta really strive for that. Really strive to not remember the former things. Right? And for those of you, and I have a few different videos and lives on it. For those of you who haven't been baptized, right? Like it says in John, the third chapter, Yahushua said that no one can enter into the kingdom unless they're born again, right? Through the water and through the spirit. Right? If you read John, the first 6 verses, it says this, and so that's something I would definitely say as well. You haven't been baptized for remission of sins. Matter of fact, I'll just pull that one up real quick. I would say that's definitely that's a huge step in your walk, right? Is Acts 2:38. Then Peter said unto them, repent and be baptized, every one of you, in the name of Mashiach Yahushua for the remission of sins, and ye shall receive the gift of the Holy Spirit. So being baptized, and when you look into that word, baptized in the Greek, it's baptismo, which means to literally be submerged in water, right? It's not talking about through the word or anything like that, right? So I would definitely say getting that remission of sins is a huge step in being renewed in your mind and your spirit and starting to live a different life, right? Khan brother, do you have a video on Leviathan and Behemoth? I don't believe. I think I did one on my one of my old Instagram channels. I don't think I have one on YouTube. Most I willing, I'll try and do one soon. But Khan, I try to stay to salvation issue types of lives, just because that's what we all really need, right? So I'm gonna read. I'm gonna go back to the beginning. I'm gonna read two verses, and then if y'all have any questions, I'll answer them. I know there was a question from someone a little while ago. I'll get back to that as well. This is First Peter 4:3. For the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles when we walked in lasciviousness, lusts, excess of wine, revelings, banquetings, and abominable idolatries. Right? The time past of our life is sufficient. It should suffice you to be living like a Gentile, to be living like a heathen, to be keeping all of these wicked holidays. The time past of your life is sufficient. You kept enough wicked holidays, right? The time past of your life to be around a bunch of wicked people with wicked spirits on them that end up affecting you negatively. The time past of your life was sufficient for that. The time past of your life was sufficient to not be studying, to not be praying, to not be trying to be holy, right? The time past of your life was sufficient to be walking in lusts and lasciviousness and drunkenness and smoking weed and always be drinking and doing drugs and popping pills and being at the club, right? You have to put the past behind you, right? And you even see it with some I won't even name names or nothing like that, but some of these more well-known people or camps that they try to bring some of that past life with them, right? They still be in the clubs, they'll still be around a bunch of heathens and around a bunch of wickedness, right? We can't do that. We have to bury the past. Bury the past. This is Luke 9:62. And Yahushua said unto him, no man having put his hand to the plow and looking back is fit for the kingdom of the Most High. If you're working towards the kingdom sincerely, that's what putting your hands to the plow is. It means you're working, right? If you're working towards the kingdom and looking back, you are not going to make it to the kingdom, right? You are not going to make it to the kingdom doing that. So let me go back down to the questions, and then I'll go ahead and close it out. I think it was, what was the brother's name? Invictus 47. Okay. I have a question. If I read other books like the Quran to show myself approved unto the Most High, like in 2 Timothy 2:15, is that okay? Okay, I got two verses for you, Ak. Before I even say anything, let me or three verses actually. Three verses should answer your question, or should be sufficient enough to answer your question. Y'all bear with me 1 minute. Just posting up these verses real quick. So it's Isaiah Shalom, shalom. Can y'all hear me? My computer froze up, so I had to get on my phone. All right, so the question, okay, it's showing that I'm on here. Y'all let me know real quick if y'all can hear me. Okay, Khan. So the question is, if I read other books like the Quran to show myself approved unto the Most High, like in 2 Timothy 2:15, is that okay? The water, all the comments just came in. So the first, and I can't post from my phone. I'm not able to post verses. So first, I would say Isaiah 34:16. I'm gonna read it right here. It says, "Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. No one of these shall fail," meaning none of the prophecies shall fail. None shall want her mate. Right? None shall want her mate. There's not gonna be no other mates to the book of the Most High. So if you have a mate that is like your husband or your wife, the person you're hand in hand with, right? So the Most High is saying here, seek out of his book, which is what? The Holy Bible, 1611 with the Apocrypha. No one of these shall fail. None of these prophecies. Tawara. Okay, so the brother posted it up so you can see where I'm at. Seek ye out of the book of the Lord and read. No one of these shall fail. None of these prophecies are going to fail. Right? It's the only book that has 100% prophetic or prophecies that are coming to pass. Right? Then it says, none shall want her mate. There's no other book that is going to mate up with this when it comes to being inspired by the Most High. Now, there's other books that you can learn about history and things of that nature. Yes, of course. But when it comes to like a lot of brothers are getting on that Book of Mormon, right? On the Book of Mormon, and they say that's the other stick. The Bible is one stick, and then the Book of Mormon is the other stick. But there's clear contradictions, and just many things that you could point to show that the Book of Mormon's off. And the same thing with the Quran, right? Because that's a specific question that you asked, right? It says, "For my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it had gathered them." The spirit of the Most High is the one who gathered all of these prophecies and these prophets to put this book together, and nothing else is going to want its mate, right? So let's go to Ecclesiastes 12:12 right here. I had commented it right before my computer froze up, and it says, "And further by these, my son, be admonished. Of making many books there is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh." Right? So the making of many books, there's no end. There's no end to all the books that you could read about, right? There's millions and millions of books. Every day, I'm sure there's hundreds of books that get published, right? Every single day, more and more and more books, right? So the making of books, there is no end, and much study is a weariness of the flesh. And you getting into all these different books and studying all these different books, it's going to weary your flesh, right? You can only sit down and read for so long before it starts wearying your flesh, which is why I've told many brothers, and I've even done a live on studying. Sometimes maybe it's good to study a category and you go precept upon precept, jump around the book. Then sometimes maybe you read a few chapters. If it's like a story, like say you're in first, second Maccabees, read a bunch of chapters because it's a story. Then sometimes get some flashcards, right? Work on your memory, start trying to memorize certain verses, things of that nature, right? Because much study is a weariness of flesh. So 13, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear the Most High and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Right? So what it all comes down to is fearing the Most High and doing what he says to do. All right, now am I saying don't study? No, of course not. Like you brought up earlier, 2 Timothy 2:15, you have to study to show yourself approved, right? You have to study to show yourself approved. But getting into all these other books and things of that nature is only going to weary your flesh. And it's like I told other brothers as well, many times, because they'll ask, well, what about getting into this or getting into that? And what I would say is, if you haven't read through the whole scriptures, right, through the whole Bible, the 1611, then what's the point of getting into all these other books? Right? You haven't even finished the Most High's word yet, then you should put that before everything else and get into that before you even read anything. But when it comes to the Quran specifically, I mean, the Quran's got a whole bunch of garbage in there, man. I could tell you that. I haven't read the whole thing, but I've read enough to know there's a whole bunch of stuff that contradicts the scriptures, right? Just like the Book of Mormon and other books like that. So let me see. I think that was the only question. If there's no more questions, then I'm gonna go ahead and close it out. Let me see. I'm just going up, scrolling up real quick to make sure I didn't miss one. Okay, can we get baptized by anyone like a Christian? Because I don't know any Hebrew peeps. So when it comes to getting baptized, a Christian, any in my opinion, okay, or my understanding, it should be somebody who believes in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, not who believes in Jesus Christ and all these things. Because remember Acts 4:12, it says there's only one name that we should be saved by, right? And I covered this more in detail in the couple of videos that I did on baptism, if you want to look through them. But if you don't know any Hebrew people in your area, or where do you live actually? Comment where you live. So the brother said, sometimes you read the whole Bible and then the Spirit makes you want to reread the meat of the precepts. Con for sure. And it's like me and my wife always, I mean, because we study every day, obviously, and sometimes we'll reread something, right? And I can't remember which parable we were reading the other day, like last week, and she was like, "Man, that's crazy. We've read this like at least 5, 7 times, and still like we're getting more understanding or a deeper understanding, a deeper level of understanding, right?" So it's the word is alive, right? The word and the spirit coincide simultaneously, and therefore as the spirit is moving through the word, it's alive, and it you always get something different out of it if you're really paying attention, right? In the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, oh yeah, Khan, I think I've spoken to you before actually. So DM me so I don't forget on Instagram, Baba Kashaw, and I'm gonna reach out to a couple brothers to see if there's anyone in that area that does baptism, because I know before I had known a brother that lived in Jamaica, but I believe he moved to Africa, to Ghana. So maybe he knows somebody still in that general area. Just message me and I'll try and find somebody for you. I saw IUIC and ISUPK groups. I don't know if to trust the groups though. So they all have their own doctrine, but I'll tell you right off the bat, IUIC, ISUPK, they don't believe in water baptism. They don't believe in water baptism. And as well, I've heard both of their leaders say they get vaccines, get the vaccine, things of that nature, just some real basic things that their doctrine's off on. The brother Luis lives in Puerto Rico. Okay. Maybe that could be a good link then. if y'all be able to, one of y'all may be able to travel, right? Because Puerto Rico, I mean, it's not too far, but at the same time, I know it can be hard to travel in those regions. So, Khan, if you could send me um, if he has an Instagram, the brother Luis, so I could try and hit him up as well, or put him in touch with Invictus 47. That would be profitable. The water. So let me see. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish. There's no other questions. If there's any other questions you want to ask in the next about minute or two, I'm gonna go ahead and finish with. Let me see. Let me go back up. Okay, so this is Luke 17:32 through 33. It says, "Remember Lot's wife. What did Lot's wife do? She looked back. All she did was look back. Sometimes that's all it takes for you to get your light put out. Just looking back could get your light put out, and now you're not in the truth no more, right? Instead of looking forward to the kingdom and looking forward to the things that you got to do, right, to make it through these times, you're looking back, and that could get you killed, right? Whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it, right? You got to lose your old past, your worldly life in order to gain and save your spiritual life and make it to the kingdom, right? So Luke, actually I'll finish with this even though I can't pull it up. One of my favorite verses, Luke 21 and 36, it says, "Watch ye therefore and pray always that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man." Right? So we always need to be watching, and watching what? Not watching towards the past, watching the things that are happening, the prophecies that are coming to pass, and praying always that we can be accounted worthy to escape all the things that are coming to pass. Because we know this is just the beginning of Jacob's trouble, the things we're seeing. Things are going to get way, way worse. All the prophecies that are going to come to pass are going to be more crazy or more wicked than anything you have ever seen or even thought of, right? The Purge movies and Book of Eli and all that stuff, that's nothing compared to what's actually going to happen. So, like it says in Luke 21:36, we have to watch and pray always that we're counted worthy to escape all these things and to stand before the Son of the Most High, right? Because in the end, that should be okay. The water, the brother posted it up again. The water, right? Watch ye therefore and pray always that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man. It is something that daily me and my household prays for, because you know there is certain brothers that they're like, I would die for the Most High. I would die. I'm gonna be beheaded for the Most High, etc. And you know what? Maybe that's the Most High putting the spirit on them to know that, right? They're bearing witness in the spirits of that. But at the same time, me being a family man, I know many brothers, like this brother here, and many other brothers and sisters that are family men. We would much rather be able to be accounted worthy to escape all these things that are going to come to pass, right? And our families not have to be put to death, right? Nobody wants to see their family members put to death, right? Now, if it comes down to it, and that's our lot, that's the will of the Most High. Well, of course, we're gonna be have that Maccabean spirit, Most High willing, and have to choose to follow the laws and follow the Most High and die rather than break them and live, right? But at the same time, we also want to be praying always that we're counted worthy to escape all these things, all these evils in Jacob's trouble, and to stand before Yahushua when he comes down and starts destroying this wicked kingdom, right? And the only way we're going to be able to do that, or even have a chance at being able to do that, is by burying the past, right? Burying the past, or else it will bury us spiritually, right? So with that, I'll give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High Yahweh in the name of His Son, our Hamashiach, Yahweh Shai, Shalom, and Shabbat Shalom to those of y'all who are still observing Sabbath. I know it's going to end here in about 20 minutes. Tawada to the brother King Nika for posting up some of the verses, and everybody else who was on here. Hope it was edifying to at least one of y'all. Like it says in Luke, the 15th chapter, all the angels in heaven rejoice when one sinner repents, right? So if it helps just one person, that's good enough for me. That's good enough for the angels. That's good enough for the Most High. So everyone who was on here, hope y'all have a peaceful rest of the day. Hope y'all stay in the spirit, and Most High willing, you're able to put your past behind you and walk in newness of life, right? So Khan, all praise to the Most High. Shabbat Shalom, Natasha, Invictus, King Nika, Young High Flyers, Drea, Brittany. Hope y'all have a good one. Peace and blessings to all of y'all. Shalom.